All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I've been responding to your guys' comments, and someone actually came up with a pretty good one here. The comment goes, "Do you have a video I could? If not, could you please make one of intellect and stamina, basically gearing options from quests and dungeons while leveling? Eagle of the eagle gear is rather rare in the auction house. It's also kind of expensive." All right, so I looked into it back in the day. There really isn't a profession like leather working doesn't help you. Blacksmithing doesn't help you. Quest rewards don't really help you with this. It's really only random enchanted of the eagle gear, particularly when it involves mail. In other words, there are some intellect, stamina, leather options here and there, and I'm sure you guys can look that up pretty easily or just find it in a dungeon. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this dungeon. Let's see what's in here. Ooh, of the intellect, stamina gear. Not stamina of the intellect, stamina, leather gear. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here's basically, as near as I can tell, your primary options. So option one, let's get out of here real fast. Go over here. Option one is basically, this is my favorite option, is when I enter a new zone, I am an annoying little jerk off in chat. I'm constantly typing in chat, like in every half an hour or so, that I am looking for and willing to buy of the Eagle stamina mail gear. And I don't care what kind of the Eagle stamina mail gear it is. I'm pretty much buying it all up and putting it on the auction house because at least I know its value on the auction house. But you can do it the other way, right? Where you're just looking for certain pieces. Because what's going to happen is, if you haven't noticed how random drops work in open world, is when you're level 40, the greens that are dropping are not level 40 greens from the mobs you're killing. They're like level 35 or level 34 greens or something stupid like that. So it's really encouraging you not to use the items that are dropping. It's encouraging you to put them in the auction house and so forth and so on. Those items are items that people get a lot of, but they will vendor them pretty much on the regular, right? So if you start becoming known as a paladin who's actually buying those at, like, 4 times the price of what they're are vendoring for, or at least 2 or 3 times the price of what they're vendoring for, the next thing you know, people are just going to keep giving you green items, even if you're AFK and sleeping or missing the game for a weekend. They'll literally COD them to you in the mail at that point. So that's option one. Option two is, and I would highly suggest mixing these two, is if you can't find of the Eagle mail gear, go with leather as long as your shield armor is up to date. Okay, as long as your shield armor is up to date, you can get away with wearing leather. If you don't know how armor works in this game, it basically works something like this. Let's say that a piece of plate mail has 100 armor on it. The mail equivalent would have 50, the leather equivalent would have 25, and the cloth equivalent would be like 1.25 armor. It's literally like a minus 50% on the armor stuff. Leather with shield is perfectly fine. Odds are your gear will be a mix of plate, like out of date plate, not plate, out of date mail, and leather armor while you're leveling. Once you hit level 41, level 42, like literally start getting into the plate gear, of the Eagle gear becomes far more common on the auction house. I do believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but historically, of the Eagle gear becomes far more common on the auction house, even though it's usually kind of expensive to pick up off the auction house. This is because just about every guide and its dog tells paladins to switch over to the AoE farming method at level 41 and level 40 plus. So once you get into plate mail, it's far less of an issue, but the same rules apply. You can get away with outdated plate mail of the Eagle and bits of up to date, like, of the Eagle mail gear that you find here and there. Things change, but it shouldn't be that hard. Just literally just do your best. If you can't find of the Eagle gear, I do believe the second best option for you is either just pure stamina gear, like the double up on stamina. If you don't know how that works, if a of the bear item would have like 4 strength, 4 stamina, and then of the boar item, I think it is, which is the pure stamina item, would be 6. So there's like a 50% reduction in stats there, but just solid stamina gear on your stamina intellect paladin is a godsend. You'll just get more spirit ticks. The next best thing I think is of the whale, that's stamina slash spirit gear. Just do your best. Straight up, do your best. I find it really funny that this is one thing I find funny about Paladin guides and stuff in general. Just listening to them is they're like, yeah, you're gonna level as a strength, stamina, retribution paladin with a two-handed weapon, and oh, by the way, you're just gonna have all this stamina, intellect gear on the side for when you need to heal a dungeon. And I'm looking at the guides and I'm like, how the hell do I get my hands on all this quote unquote stamina intellect gear? Am I just like randomly picking up pieces of garbage in the dungeons that I do? Like, how did this happen? Am I wearing cloth? Like, what's going on here? Maybe the answer is yes, and I'm crazy, but I still think it's nuts. So, anyways, yeah, those are your two best options. Do your best. If you're super serious, one of the best ways to get geared is actually from Darkmoon Fair. It's one of the best ways to get a knightly longsword if you're playing. What the hell is it? If you're playing a version of Hardcore Classic where you're not trading with anybody and you are not, damn it, what is it? Using the auction house. There we go. Some of the best places to get your gear, and particularly to get your knightly longsword, is the Darkmoon Fair. I looked it up on Wowhead. It's the like lesser Darkmoon Fair prize. Gives you like an ocean of random gear, all with like random stats on it practically. Very good place to get your knightly longsword, and while you're at it, to getting your knightly longsword, it's a very good place to just gear up in general as basically any hardcore no trading paladin in general. Even if you're using the auction house, it's probably worth your time doing Darkmoon Fair in general. I could be wrong about this. I didn't bother to look up how pricey it is to get the lesser rewards from the Darkmoon Fair. I just remember what I had to do to get my neck piece, for my level 60 paladin from Darkmoon Fair, and it doesn't. I don't think it would be that bad. Feel free to look into Darkmoon Fair auction house, or just yelling at people and promising them gold. All right, cool. End the video here, and Deus Volt, boys.